Hello and welcome. I am Scrapperlock, and this is City of Heroes on the Rebirth server. We are with Quintessence last, our level 18 brute, who has almost 90,000 experience, 13,000 to go. We'll have over 100,000 when we get to level 19, and we are on a story arc for Penelope Yin, who says, what Dr. Lila found out was that those smelly guys with the weird minds, the Lost, well, she's talked to some of them and she asked about what happened to my dad, and they told her that they went after Dad and me on purpose. One of their big chiefs wanted us captured for something weird, I'm sure. Anyway, the guy they ordered to do it was one named Muxley. Doc said Muxley is still in Fault Line, but she doesn't know where. If you can find him, that'll lead you to Dad, right? So we're going to hit the streets and take on some Lost and ask them, where is Muxley? Now there's some Lost right here, conveniently enough. As usual, I'm not going to worry about trying to get, white cons and yellow cons. We're just going to fight whoever's here and beat them up. Look at that. Nice. This should take both of these guys out really easily. Oh, a little more. I'm loving that Siphon Life. And we now have Dark Consumption, which is an area effect attack. And I've been looking at this and thinking about it. Dark Consumption also does some damage, which is nice. It does pure negative energy damage. And so I was thinking about, okay, in terms of what enhancements you can put on it, if you look in the little pop-up over by the mouse where Dark Consumption's power listing is, you can put endurance modification. Obviously, that's useful. Recharge speed, of course. Damage and accuracy. We can't reduce its endurance cost. We don't need to do that. We're going to definitely want to recharge it. We're going to want accuracy. We could enhance damage, but I'm probably not going to. And here's the reason. It's once every 3 minutes. And it doesn't do that much damage, right? It does less damage, way less damage than all of our other attacks. Well, Shadow Punch does about the same damage as it, but Shadow Punch recharges every 3 seconds. This thing recharges every 3 minutes. It takes 60 times as long for this thing to recharge. And if you max out the damage, if you do accuracy and 3 damage or something and 1 recharge, then you're not gaining any more endurance from it, right? And all we can do is do it once every 2.5 minutes. Well, it's not worth it. It's not going to do that much damage. I mean, this thing will be doing, 32 damage every 2.5 minutes. Shadow Punch is going to be doing 16 damage every 3 seconds. In 2.5 minutes, Shadow Punch could be executed dozens of times and be doing hundreds of damage. So to me, it's not worth slotting this for damage. So I'm going to be doing 2 accuracy, 3 recharge, and an endurance recovery, or maybe 2 accuracy, 2 recharge, and 2 endurance recovery. We'll see. I think it's going to be 3 recharge because I'd rather have it go off more and give us, 32 endurance than go off less often and give us 50 endurance or something like that. So that's my thinking on Dark Consumption. Okay, so we need to defeat 6 more Lost. Well, let's go ahead and hop around, see if we can find some. Bajalok's over here. There's usually some Lost hanging around there. That's Arachnos. Just keep tabbing, and there we go. There's a Lost. There's some Lost. Here we go. Perfect. Notice how before we start building up any fury, we're doing 6s, right? 6 times 2 times 4. Now we're doing 10 times 2 times 4, right? And now 12 times 2 times 4, right? We've doubled our damage. And so that's what Fury can do for you. And that's why you want to leave your Fury built up as much as possible. What are you doing there? Oh, you're a SWAT agent. Okay. So let's go look for some more Lost puppies. Lots of clockworks. Bajalok. There's Lost. Where? Right there. Now these are Grey Cons, but that's okay. We just want to get our last 3. One to go. Come on, Lost Boys. There you are. We're going to fight all 3 of these guys. We're going to aggro them, but that's fine. That takes care of this part of the story arc. Got our clue. We now know... Whoops. Oh, I jumped off. Didn't mean to do that. We now know where Muxley is, I guess. We'll check that in a sec. So let's see, clues. Yep, we've got Muxley's location, so they gave it up. Alright, so I guess we don't need to talk to her, we just need to go find Muxley. Okay, so Muxley's just a little ways across the zone. So one of the nice things about these newer arcs is not only do they keep the missions in the zone, but they actually keep the missions within a fairly tight area near the contact. For instance, when we get to Dr. Lila, she's down here, and then we're doing missions down here. And when you get to the last guy who's over here, you're doing missions in here. And so they really do kind of keep it a little bit, just a little bit less sort of mindless running around. We don't need a break free. I don't think we need that heal either. Let's just go in with this set. Oh, and I gotta move that over there. Okay. So by the time we get to Muxley, we're going to want some more purple pills. Hopefully we'll get them. I don't know which way he is, so we'll just move along. Interestingly enough, the music is still going. Not sure what the story is on that. Usually it stops after a while. Orange cons. It will now start to be, you know, a couple of episodes per level at this point, I think. Rather than multiple levels per episode. Oh man, I just love catching multiple guys in the radius. Or I guess radius isn't right, the cone. Okay, I am going to lower the music sound because it's starting to drive me nuts. Just make it really low for now, and I'll bring it back when whatever this bug is that's causing it to repeat. Oh, did it stop? Yeah, I guess it did. I was going to say, whenever this bug finally ends, I'll bring the sound back, and it ended just as I did that. Interesting. I guess the client just had to reevaluate the music, and by forcing it to change volumes, it did that, and it realized I shouldn't be playing music here. Okay. So this is a ruined office building, and there are usually a bunch of guys around here. And we're looking for Muxley. So as we go, let's go back to talking about some general role-playing game concepts. Right now I'd like to talk about the concept of consent and PvP. And by that I don't mean the kind of PvP we're talking about in City of Heroes. If you go into the arena or you go into Siren's Call, that's obviously PvP that everybody has agreed to do. So-called consensual PvP. Right? Because if you didn't want to do PvP, you wouldn't go into Siren's Call. So PvP is player versus player, and usually this phrase is used when discussing MMOs, massively multiplayer online games, some MMOs have no PvP allowed. I think some of the very earliest MMOs, you just could not attack players, um, or the characters of players, I guess is the right way to say it. Other MMOs have PvP servers, and on those servers, it's open, free for all PvP, but on the other servers, you can't attack each other. A lot of games are like City of Heroes, they have opt in or consent based PvP. You go into a certain zone, or you set a certain flag. Star Wars Galaxies, you flagged yourself as a covert or an overt Imperial. My character, who was a dancer, was a neutral. She did not ever flag for PvP. And then at one point I had a covert rebel. A couple times I got flagged, and there were things you could do that got you flagged. And unfortunately, if you wanted certain like badges and stuff, you had to do things to get yourself flagged, which was annoying because I really didn't want to do PvP, but I wanted to roleplay being a rebel. Um, and there's Mux. Let's sweep the room though. We don't want anybody else to get involved in our fight. I don't know if he's going to start running around. Um, and so those are all, kind of opt-in situations. But usually when you're talking about PvP, you're talking about players that are on opposing sides. So like in City of Heroes, heroes don't fight each other, generally, although you can in the arena. Nobody uses the arena anymore, right? Usually what happens, and the arena was really just there to test PvP, usually what happens is the players and the villains fight each other. The heroes and the villains fight each other, right? And so they're opposite factions. And that's sort of what you mean by PvP. But there's obviously, if you're doing open world PvP and open-ended PvP, sometimes there are no factions, and any player can just attack any other player. So the reason I bring this up is because on the D&D forums, the D&D Beyond forums, somebody was talking about PvP in Dungeons and Dragons. And now he had a couple of players, and the one player was playing a lawful evil character, who sounds more like he's chaotic evil. And this character was, murdering people when the lawful neutral guy didn't want them murdered, and rather than argue with him, what this lawful evil guy did was he cast like charm person and charmed the guy into letting the evil guy kill people, right? Or he did suggestion or something like that. And so the player of the lawful neutral guy said, next time he does, like, pass a note to the DM, it's like, next time he does that, I want to attack him, right? Because after the charm wears off and a lot of these spells, and certainly with suggestion, you know that you were mind controlled. And so you don't realize it while you're under the influence of the mind control, but once it wears off, you know who did it and you know what they did, right? And this is sort of a check and balance on. It's supposed to prevent you from being able to just willy-nilly mind control every NPC in the game, right? Because the designers realized that if players could do that, they'll just walk into every shop, mind control the shop owner into giving them everything for a low price, and then walk out. So if the shop owner knows as soon as they walked out that they did this to him, and we've now completed the mission and got a clue, he could go report them to the Royal Guard or whoever, and they'll get into trouble for mind controlling shop owners. But so what this DM said is, kind of went on and said, what do I do, right? Is there some way that we can do something in character so that the one character can retaliate against the other one without destroying my game group? And one of the DMs who frequently answers there said, you're done. You should have said this isn't allowed to begin with, or talked about the players. He said, you've got one player who's a problem. He's trying to force roleplay on the other players, the evil one. He said, you need to tell that guy to make up a new character and throw the old one out and make sure it's not an evil character. And I actually agreed with him. I said, this is a problem. So why is it a problem? It's not always a problem in MMOs. Why is it a problem in D&D? I'm going to talk about that. And also why they don't allow it in a game like City of Heroes in the upcoming mission. But first, let's talk to Penelope Yin. She says, yes, you found Muxley. Well, I know Dad wasn't there, but Muxley did tell you where to find him, right? Don't worry. Daddy, Quintessence last is going to bring you home soon. Did I promise to do that? I guess I did. Go get Daddy, be kind of careful. Alright, well, before we do that, hang on. Let's go to the store. Because we're going to have to fight a boss here. So let's go to the store and get some extra luck. And accuracy. And damage. Okay, now we can go get Daddy. Go rescue Mr. Yin. I think it's going to be pretty tough in there. Just like be careful, okay? I wouldn't want to be all sad because I got Dad back, but you got killed and stuff. Oh, hey. That's an idea. Give me a second. I've asked the Clockwork King really nicely, and he's agreed to let me borrow some of his soldiers that he has protecting me. It's a really big step for him. I mean, he's kind of paranoid, sure, but deep down I think he's an okay guy. Yeah, no, he's not an okay guy, but... Alright, so now we're going to go rescue Mr. Yin. So yeah, the thing is, in Dungeons & Dragons, it is normally not expected for the players to have their characters act in ways that are negative to the other characters. Yes, it sometimes happens, but no, you are not supposed to have your character who's a thief steal items from your fellow player characters' belts. Oh, well, that's right, we get multiple bosses in this mission. This is going to be cool. You are not supposed to have your character who is an assassin try and backstab the other player characters. That's not okay. It's not cool. Let's try to do a little extra damage. It's not okay. It's not cool, and you shouldn't do it. Unless the other players at the beginning of the game, when you were having your session 0 or what have you, agreed that this kind of player versus player stuff is okay. Most of the time, players don't want to do that. They just don't want to deal with it. Right? We get enough in real life of backstabbing nasty people. We don't necessarily want it in our role-playing game. So, first of all, this is something that, as a group, the table should discuss. And once a decision has been made, then everybody needs to respect it. And the person who wants to do PvP needs to understand that if you can do this to my character can do it back to you. As one person pointed out, and I think rightly so, the person who's doing this will usually say, well, it's what my character would do. They're using that as a crutch. They're hiding behind that. Because it may be what their character would do, but what my character would do in response to you getting my character almost killed is maybe kill you back or walk away and not adventure with you ever again. And the fact that we're still adventuring together is only happening because I'm not having my character do what he or she would do, right? So you're basically relying on the other players then to not be as puritanical as you are about what your character would do or what their character would do. And so what you're basically doing when you say, I'm going to do all this stuff that your character in character probably wouldn't tolerate, but I expect you to tolerate it because it's just what my character would do, is I want the other players to metagame and keep their character on a team with me, even though he wouldn't be, because I want to be able to run roughshod over the campaign and do whatever I want. Now, I want to point out that this kind of PvP, same team player versus same team player, is impossible to do on a lot of MMOs. You cannot do it in City of Heroes. Yes, you can player versus player attack in the arena. Yes, you can do it in Siren's Call. But if you randomly join a pickup group, you can't just suddenly attack them. You can't target them and attack them. It won't work. The game won't allow it. And so there is, like, essentially, there's no friendly fire in City of Heroes. And why did they do this? Why did they make it so that you can't? Even if you are on a team with me and you actively target me like this, you target me in the reticle, and then you press attack, it just won't do it. Why? Because they don't want people griefing each other. And this is my point. When one player, even if it's what their character would do, starts attacking the character of another player in the middle of a battle or something, that isn't called roleplay. It's called griefing. And most, if not all MMOs, except the ones that are sort of the hardcore open world PvP MMOs, most of them prevent you from doing that. A lot of them, even sort of open PvP ones, often they're factional open. They're faction open PvP. In this sense, you can open attack the other faction. Siren's Call is an open PvP zone, but it's factional, right? I don't think heroes can go into Siren's Call and attack other heroes. They can just attack villains. And you certainly can't attack people that are on your team. And this is what the person in D&D is doing. They're not just attacking people, other players, characters, right? They're not just attacking the characters of players. They're not just attacking the characters of players on their faction. They're attacking the players of people in their team, right? And this is the equivalent of going into City of Heroes or any MMO, getting into a pickup group to go on a raid or a task force, and in the middle of the task force, the guy starts attacking you from your team. You'd kick anybody who did that. And they would very quickly end up, if there is a list of jerks that you shouldn't play with, they'd end up on that list. Right? So these things are specifically disallowed in games like City of Heroes. There's no friendly fire from anybody, by the way. The NPCs have the same rules, right? There's no friendly fire, which is why a blaster can throw an AoE attack while the tanker and the scrapper are in the middle of the spawn and they don't get hurt. It's that way, yes, to make the blaster's life easier, because it would be really hard to do any AoEs if you had to constantly worry about whether your friends were going to get caught in the blast. But it's also that way because they don't want people, like I run up and start punching the boss and some jerk goes, ha 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 ha, and hits me, knocks me out, and then, jumps out of the mission, jumps out of the group, disconnects from the server and disappears so that you can't, get them back. This kind of griefing happens all the time in MMOs that don't restrict this, which is why nearly all of them restrict it. There's a reason, and it's because people do not like being griefed like that. And so when a player is going to cast suggestion on another character's player without saying to the player, look, do you mind for roleplay purposes if I cast suggestion on your character? That's the adult way to do it. And then the other player says, look, I really am not comfortable with that. I don't want to do PvP. Let's not do that. Okay. Right? Even though it's something I think my character would do, I won't have the character do that because you don't want it. That's the grown-up way to handle it. Right? But if you're just going to go, dude, I'm going to cast suggestion on your character, that is griefing the other player. You don't use offensive spells and abilities on your own party unless you've all agreed beforehand that it's open season. If you've all agreed, or maybe one person comes to the group and says, guys, I'm going to be playing an evil character, and my character might at certain times either steal from or attack you guys from behind. He might possibly even hit you, take your stuff, and leave the party. Is everybody okay with me role-playing that way and actually doing that? Now, I would probably say as a player, all right, as long as you're okay with me getting you back if I can. And maybe it would work depending on who the player is. If it's my best friend, I'd say, okay, well, let's talk about it. Let's plan some things out so it doesn't get out of hand. Let's make sure it doesn't get out of hand. But if it's just sort of a group of players, friends who've maybe never played D&D before and they get together and they start doing this, be very careful. Do not attack the other players. They generally don't like it. They don't think it's fun. And they don't care that it's what your character would do. It's griefing. Don't cause grief to the other players. Now, why did I stop here while I was doing that? Because I didn't want to try to get into that conversation while I was fighting this guy, because he's going to take some concentration. We're going to need some accuracy and some defense. I think that's going to be enough, and we'll go in and try to really debuff him as fast as possible. He shouldn't be able to mez me. So he now has 5 debuffs laid on him. He's at minus 25 to hit. And with my 31% defense, it should be rare, if ever, that he hits me at this point. Now, I'm not bothering with Dark Consumption here, because even though I could use a little bit of endurance, it's an AoE, and I don't want to bother with throwing an AoE against a single guy who's about to be defeated. And there we go. Notice, she has no problem against +1 bosses. And we're only level 18 right now. And there is a +0 boss, so he's not going to be any problem either. Or shouldn't be. And we got an extra purple, and we got some extra damage we can use, so that'll be good. So we're already doing 100% extra damage Now 150%. Now that's a hold. You see how that's staying there? It's a 3 strength. We have 6 hold protection, so as long as he doesn't stack more than 2 of them on us, he can't hold us. If he stacks 3, then we can get held. And that would be if he does 1, and then does it again, and then does it again before the first one wears off. Not the second one. The first one would have to still be in effect. 1, then 2, and then the third one, and then it would hit, because 3 plus 3 plus 3 is 9, and that beats the 6.5 hold protection. And it just so happens that the 1 bit of Mez defense I'm monitoring is hold, but they all work the same way. Wow, 3 misses in a row. What happened there? It's like 3 90 pluses in a row I must have rolled. Go ahead and use that. Blue. So I don't know where Mr. Yin is in all this. Oh, I hear somebody talking. There's somebody over there. Gruesome of Galaxy. So these are the guys. It was somebody of Atlas and so forth. So these are guys from each zone. Okay. So this is going to be trouble here because we've got those guys back there. Alright, I'm going to shoot him. And hopefully they don't come. He should come, but hopefully they won't come. So there's 1 hold. So just keep an eye on how many of them stack. See, that lasts quite a bit. But just as that one fades, the next one comes up. So I don't think he can stack it 3 times. And if he can't, then he cannot hold me. And that takes care of him. Man, we're almost 19th level already? This is insane. I'm not getting boosted XP or anything either. It's just because there are so many oranges and reds. Now that chopper, he cuts your defense. That's why we have negative. Ugh. Missing a lot. Again. Again. 98. Oh, see, Shadow Punch. No, Shadow Punch had a 78. We got a 79 and then a 98. Oh, Shadow Punch only has 1 accuracy on it. That's why. Okay. I was wondering, why is it only 78? It's because we only have 1 accuracy enhancer. Yeah, that guy took a long time to take out because of all the misses. Can I please get up here? There we go. And it only has 1, and it's a dual origin, right? So that's why it's missing more than the others. So we definitely need to get a slot on there and throw in some accuracy, but of course, by the time we're getting more enhancements for it, it's going to be level 22 and we're going to be putting singles in. Wow, we've got a lot of enhancements. None of them useful. Oh. Rough cut of Perez. Perez Park. Oh, there's another guy over there I didn't see. Well, we should be alright. I like that animation. Just wanted to see how it worked. Oh, you know what? Let me fix this as soon as we're done. Options. There is a way to show the recast timer. So now we can see how many minutes it'll be before dark consumption comes back. Slag of Skyway. So one of the reasons they think you need multiple heroes for this is because, oh, there's 2 holds. He's almost got me. And now they've worn off. And we got him. Very nice. Don't remember what I was saying there. Now let's back up because there are way too many guys. Ian must be over there. So there were some kidnappers, I guess. Come on, get out of the way here. There we go. Yes, this low ceiling is what's giving the camera some trouble. And there's Mr. Yin. Definitely want to get a taunt fairly soon so that we can pull without needing the staff. Not that there's anything wrong with the staff, but pull is auto hit, or the taunt rather is auto hit. I don't think you can miss with the taunt. Dastard of Fault Line. Okay. So that thing, yep, 3, hold. And that's also 3. You see, he's not stacking it though. And we have leveled up. My goodness, that was quick. Alright, Mr. Yin, come with me. I just got done saying that we won't be able to level up in every episode, and I think sure as hell still almost are. I don't think we're in any bonus XP right now. Mr. Yin's pretty quick. For an old guy. He's probably not that old, he's probably my age. But of course Quintessence lass is like 25. So he's old to her. Any ambush? If there isn't one, I feel... Oh, there it is. Okay. Well, we're going to dodge it. Yep, they're going the wrong way. Haha. They really shouldn't show that on the map. So that it should be at least possible you could run into it. Otherwise, it's kind of dumb. I mean, I like that they can go the wrong way, but you shouldn't see it on the map. Alright. We got Mr. Yin, and we got some reward merits. And a badge. Out we go. We're able to talk to Penelope, and then we're going to get to 19th level and get some more slots. Penelope says, "You did it! You did it! You did it! You did it! You did it! Dad's home and safe and everything. You saved him, Quintessence Lass. He's already getting the shop open. Can you believe it? Oh, that's right. He wanted me to tell you that you can go in any time you want, but that's not important. Dad's home and safe, and all because of you." Remember Dr. Lila? She wanted to talk to me about something, but Dr. Lila, I think, is going to be inactive until we hit level 20. So we will be done with Fault Line until level 20. So let's go talk to Mirror Spirit, one of my favorite heroes, as I mentioned last time, I believe. She's super cool. I like the name and I like the look. This part of Overbrook is really pretty. I wish they had pushed the renovation further south. But then they would have had to change the story arcs too, so I don't know what they would have done. Train up to the next level. So we get 2 slots. We're done over here. Let's finish Shadow Mall. Put one on Shadow Punch. Yeah, I think that's good. Alright. So it's been 36 minutes, so I think we'll stop here. Until next time, guys, I am Scrapperlock, and this has been City of Heroes.